Okay, is it recording already? I think it is. So I'm gonna do my second part of the, Swimming 101 by author Pedro Cristobal video. The first one we covered how how I found my perfect floating position, and I, explained the whole method in a way that you can also use it to find yours. So the first video was about the perfect floating position, and I finished recommending that you, after you find that, you practice how to get into that position, no matter how you land in the water, no matter if you're, deep on the water or in any position, with your head down, with your head to the side, with your body correctly, in a straight line, or with your body in a different position. No matter where you are, you learn or get used to going up to the surface and then taking that perfect floating position. So basically you're training yourself to go back to that resting position on top of the water, to that floating and safe position, no matter what. No matter what. So in this second video, which is, I'm only planning to do these two videos and that's it for this topic. This is not where my expertise really is, but I feel that it can help a lot of people if I do this. Maybe there might even be a lot of people who, manage to learn how to swim like I did it. I did it at 27 years old. So, if I did it at 27 years old with this method, I'm sure that many other people can actually learn with my method. So I'm going to assume that you already learned how to float. You already found your perfect floating position. You already trained that. I'm just gonna say one more thing about that. It's, just recommendations for it. And that thing is that if you find it difficult to go back, go to the surface and get into that perfect floating position, or maybe, water goes into your face or mouth or nose or whatever, you have some problems with that. I had a little bit of trouble with that at first, but I quickly got over it. But I can see, I can understand if there are other people that have more trouble with it than what I did. It makes perfect sense. So, what you can do to completely erase that disadvantage, that minor problem, which you don't want to have if you're in the middle of the ocean, like when you have to do it for real and you don't have any other choice other than getting it right. You don't want to have those annoyances, or at the very least, you want to have something that helps you to deal with them completely. So what you can do is, when you go to the surface, instead of going into the perfect floating position, which is, with your face facing the sun, looking up with this, this part out, so you can breathe and even look around, open your eyes and look around, and in the horizontal position. Don't go into the position right away, or go into it but upside down first, with your face, with this, with the back of your head facing the sun and your face still inside the water. So you take your perfect floating position, or any floating position, doesn't have to be the perfect one. You can do a T if you want there. You can go like this, like straight line with your feet in extended as well, upside down. And from that upside down position, you can go. I used to do this many times. So you're like this in the water. Here's the water like on my face, and the sun is on the back of my head. So that part is the part that is floating outside. Let's say the water is like up to here, all of this on the water, and you're like this floating like that. Then from that position, just turn around. From that position, you're in the water like that. Just go like, do like a little roll, and put yourself looking up, and then quickly take your perfect floating position, like right away. Don't wait until you sink or do something wrong. Go into the right position right away, and that's it. So if you have difficulty, this is the water, this is you, and you go up and you have difficulty when you reach the surface going into that perfect floating position right away, what I recommend is just floating but upside down with the face still on the water, and then from that position, which is very easy to do, like a middle roll, and then end up floating, with your face looking at the sun up, uh, then it's a lot easier to do it like that. If you can do it directly without taking another position first, wonderful. But if not, the idea is not how efficiently you're doing it. The idea is that you learn how to do it, because if you learn how to do it, even if it is using a manner that is not very efficient, well, you already have the survival skills, so it doesn't matter. You got it done. That's the main idea of this whole thing. So okay, so now we go to moving on the surface of the water, which is what I'm gonna cover today. We're not gonna bother with the other, at first. Later you can continue learning everything else. I continue learning like water treading in the vertical position, which I don't even recommend bothering with at first, because the vertical position, I already said this in the first video. You need to watch the first video before this. Like put a pause right now and go to the first video if you didn't watch that. The vertical position is the drowning position. So even if you know how to tread water perfectly, I just recommend learning the stuff on the horizontal first, like floating, your perfect floating position, and then what we're gonna learn next is the easiest to be able to move on the surface. Because if you know how to float, you essentially save yourself and you already have the survival skill, but you need to be able to move on that surface as well. And you need to learn one of the styles. What is the easiest one out of all the styles? The easiest one by far is a backstroke. Why? Because it is the only one where you don't need to do breath management constantly and in good synchronization with the movements everywhere else in your body. So you have to be synchronized with your breath management in and out of water, and you have to learn how to manage how you do your breathing. Otherwise, you do too much, you do too little, you start to get tired, and it is a total disaster. And what ends up happening is that it doesn't work unless you do the breath management right. But if you do the backstroke style, you can do it in a way that you always have this part of your face up outside the water, so you can be breathing all the time, so you don't have to worry about that. And that is what makes it, in my opinion, and by far, the easiest one. If you're still not convinced that you need to learn breaststroke first, I'm going to convince you right now very easily. How do babies learn how to swim? How are they taught? They are taught with backstroke style. Obviously, they don't do perfect, with their hands like that or anything like that, but they go into a floating position upwards, and then the instructors teach them how to move around like that, from that floating position, which is like a version of backstroke, but obviously not moving very fast, not very efficient, but it works. It works even for the babies. So obviously we can do it as well. That was one of the motivations for me to learn it. Like when I didn't know it, I was like, come on, man, you can do this, you can do that. That is so difficult. You can do it. You can do that other stuff. Babies can do this swimming stuff, so you should be able to do it as well. And I just, that got in my head, and I just began going to a pool and practicing until I, finally learned to float, and then learn backstroke, and I continued learning a few more things after that. But I already felt safe after that, because I already knew what I needed to know to, not be worried anymore, because I already knew it. The worries didn't go away, because then I was worried when I saw like in the pool where I was training and practicing, after I knew, when I saw little kids who obviously didn't know how to swim. I mean, it was so clear. And I was worried, because I saw them like on the border, like the deep end, and I was like, oh my god, these children don't understand that they're playing with their lives. I I understand it, because I just learned right now at 27. But it is what it is. When after you learn, you don't worry about yourself anymore. But then, because you were one of those people that had difficulty learning, and you understand what it is like to be in danger because you don't know, then you're worried about other people who don't know. It's it's just like that. That's probably what I'm gonna do these two videos, even though I am a science fiction author of action thrillers and a math teacher who's I'm right now preparing to be an online a private math tutor online. So if you need any of that, contact me. Like, my email for that is tutorpedrocristobal@gmail.com. I'm gonna write it here in the in the comments or in the description. I'm gonna put it here, so if you need any help with math, high school math, even college math, but for the first classes, for like college algebra and trigonometry, which is trigonometry in the university is like pre-calculus in the high school level. So those are the classes that I can help with and teach as a math teacher and tutor with my private jig that I'm going to develop. I'm a lot better for that than for teaching swimming, by the way. So if you think I'm giving good teaching with swimming, you know where my great teaching is at. It's in the math related department. And also you should read the books, the science fiction saga I'm writing. I'm gonna put links to that as well. So now we're gonna continue with the swimming. So you're now convinced, you now know the stuff from the first video, which is your perfect floating position. So you know how to float, and you know how to go to that floating position. So if you're in a boat and someone grabs you and throws you in the sea, in the ocean, you can go to your perfect floating position because you already trained that hundreds of times, which was what I recommended that you do. So hopefully you already did it. So you already know how to do that automatically. But now that you're floating, you need to go back to the shore. You need to go back to a safe place. So you need to be able to move on that surface. We have learned, from the babies, that the easiest style for us humans is the backstroke, because you don't have to worry about the breath management. You always have your nose out. But to do the backstroke correctly, you need to be able to learn to use your legs to, propel yourself in the water. Your legs have to help you. So you have to learn how to do that correctly. And you need to, after that, add the movements with the hands. You don't have to do it perfectly. You don't have to do perfectly the movement with the legs or with the hands, but you should learn to do it at least in a way that is okay, so that you can get it done. So we're not going to train here to be Michael Phelps. We're just training to basically learn the survival skill, the basic skill that you need. If you want to get better after that, you can keep going. You can keep developing in your own way. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to just teach you the basic survival skill, which is, I'm not really an expert on it either. I'm just telling you what I did and what worked for me. And I think that if I learn at 27 and with great difficulty, then many, many other people can learn with this methodology that I basically created or came up with to be able to teach myself. I taught myself, by the way. No one came to teach me. I had to do it on my own. If I didn't do that, I still wouldn't know how to swim. So I know because I taught myself using the methodology. So first, I'm going to divide this in two parts. First, we're going to learn the part with the legs. So you're going to move on top of the water using the legs at first, and your hands are just going to be like this on top of your head. So we go back to the fishes. How do fish swim in the water? Do they swim like this with their fins or open like that, or do they look more like a straight line? They look more like a perfect straight line, like a like a barracuda fish. They look like an arrow basically. So you want that shape for yourself. Obviously, you're not gonna be able to take that perfect shape, but you can put your body in a position like this, you know, like that, almost as much as an arrow as you can, and do the same with your legs. Your legs also go like that, but they're gonna go one beside the other, not like this, because then you cannot use them. You cannot go like them with like this with your legs if you have them like that. But you do want to have your hands and your arms like this at first, because we're gonna use the legs only. So there are many swimming instructors. Even my dad used to do it like this, but it never worked for me. And you know, I think most swimming instructors don't have patience to teach this. You know, what they tell you is, oh, you go to the border of the pool and you grab the border of the pool and you begin moving your legs like this. And if you're falling down, oh, try to stay on top, and eventually you let go of the border of the pool and it starts working. Well, I got news for you. Throw all that to the trash. If you're someone that has difficulty swimming, like I, you know, once did, it's not gonna work like that for you. It's not gonna work. So just, I know it works for some people, but for people that have difficulty, it doesn't work. And also, it's actually pretty bad, because it puts in your head that you can hold the border, and you want to get in the mentality of forgetting about the existence of that wall and that floor, and getting used to doing everything without touching the floor and ignoring the walls, because that's what's going to teach you how to do it. Eventually, you don't need the walls at all, you don't need the floor at all. So guess what happens? You already learn. And that was you know what, how I came to the realization that I already knew. I wasn't holding on to anything anymore or stepping on anything anymore. So it didn't really matter how deep the water was. It worked, because you're doing everything. This is the water. You're doing everything on the surface. We're not working with this you know, underwater stuff. You can learn that later if you want. We're just working on the surface. So, you know, the depth doesn't really matter that much, though. Since we're learning, you want to be on a depth that is no higher than your chest. And what I recommend personally is half the height of your body. It worked like that pretty well for me. And you know, the depth is not what matters here. What matters here is what you're doing on top of the water to learn. So basically, what I did to be able to learn how to move on top of the water with the legs only was just using the legs only at first. So how do the fish take the shape that is like an arrow? So I took the shape that is like an arrow, you know, like this. So I took my perfect floating position. Oh, I was floating there in the upside down Y position, which, as if you saw the first video, that was the position that worked for me. For you, it might be something else, but I explained there what you can do to find your position. So I was in my upside down Y floating wall. So from that upside down Y, I could easily put my hands and my arms like this, and also my legs sort of like that, and then start working with the legs. So if you start doing that, you already begin to move on top of the water, but you're going to begin to move pretty slowly until you do it correctly. So the idea is not, these are the legs. Let's pretend that my arms and my, you know, basically my arms and my hands are the legs. So we're like this, right? We're not going like this. That's not gonna work. The idea is doing something like that, where it's kind of like coming from here, from the hips, you know, something like that, like a motor maybe, but it's a soft motor. It's a nice and soft motor, going like this. The only part where you're actually feeling that you're like hitting the water a little is in the top here. In the top here, where you're gonna like this, boom, 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 boom. Hopefully you're making like a minor small turbulence on top, on the surface of the water, with the end of your legs only. If you go like this, you're just moving too much water everywhere. It's not efficient. It doesn't work well. So you want to go like that. focusing on trying to make that little turbulence here, like, like a little, um, okay, how do you call that? Um, like a little plane, that's going like that to give you some propulsion in the water. But the plane is your feet, basically your feet, and your feet are going like this. So in the perfect floating position, we had our legs and feet like this with the toes pointing up. But when you're actually using the legs to move around and swim, you don't want to have your toes pointing up. You want to have the leg more like this, like the fish, like an arrow, and go like that, focusing on, even if you move a little bit of everything like this to get the whole movement naturally, you want to make the little turbulence at the tip of the feet. Make sure that helps you to propel you forward. So you're gonna train that, not holding any wall. You're gonna do it on an area of the pool, on the side of the pool, where you can still, where it's not too deep for you. Make sure that it's not too deep for you, right? Because you don't want to, if you have like, if you do it wrong, if you do something wrong, and you need just to feel safer to stand up on there, you can do it. The idea is forgetting about it. The idea is avoiding it. The idea is pretending that it's just you and the water, and there's nothing else, and continuing for as long as possible in that horizontal position, which is the easiest position to be on water. And then just practicing that until you finally see, you start to feel, oh, I am you're not moving your when you're doing like this with your legs, you don't need to move this upper part of the body. You just need to keep your arms and your hands like this, sort of like to give it like a guidance, like a boat, like a small boat. You're giving it a guidance like this. If you move a little bit to the side and you keep doing like that with your legs, you can sort of like steer yourself a little, like a chip, change a little bit your direction, but you're not really doing anything with your hands or your upper body right now. It's just focusing on the legs. So what's going to happen is that when you start doing it better, start focusing on doing it in a way which is not draining your strength on your legs, which feels normal, soft, easy, but a way that also makes you feel, and you can feel it, but you're gonna feel it when you're moving faster on the water. You're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel like this leg propulsions that I'm doing, these leg movements are really helping me to, gain more distance. So when you reach that point, I consider that you already learned how to use your legs to move around on water. However, if you only use your legs, it's gonna take a lot longer. It's gonna be slower because you're only using your legs, and your legs eventually are going to get more tired. So now we want to, in addition to using the legs, add to that the movement with the arms. The movement with the arms doesn't have to be perfect. I don't think I ever perfected it, but I just learned how to do it, and that's it. I'm pretty sure that a pro swimmer does it a lot better than me, a lot faster than me, but I just learned how to do it so that I could use it, in my own way, even if it's not perfect. And the idea is that after you know how to use your legs really well, almost perfectly, you don't have to think about it. You learn it so well already, you have done it so much, you don't have to think about it. You can already do it and focus on your arms now. So that's why I did it like that. I divided it in parts. First, we focus on the floating. I didn't stop with that until I learned it. After I learned it, then we focus on being able to take that floating position no matter where I am or how I am inside of the water. I can just move around and boom, boom, and go back there, basically. When I was done with that, I went to the easiest style, which was the backstroke. And then I divided it in two parts. First, we're going to deal with the legs. We already know how to move around with the legs. Now we're going to add the arms. So we're going to do everything together now. So you're going to do pretty much the same thing. If you can do it starting with your legs and then right away start experimenting with your arms, what I recommend doing for the arms, what worked for me, is go one, then the other, and one, and then the other, and one, and then the other. Also, you're gonna have to learn how to do this in a way that you still keep your body straight in the arrow shape like a fish. Because if you do this in a way that you move all over around and you lose that fish shape, that straight arrow shape, it's going to be a problem to stay afloat. You're not going to advance very much. You're not going to go fast and move fast. It's not going to be the easy way to do it. So you want to relax. The good thing about the backstroke style is that if you do it correctly, the idea is that you always keep this part of your face out, so you don't have to worry about the breath management. I mean, you do have to worry about it. You have to breathe. Make sure that you're breathing. Otherwise, it doesn't work. But because you don't have to synchronize it in a way that, you take your breath out underwater and take it out of the water, and keep that synchronization going. It's just easier to not have to worry about that and just know that you always have this part out, which the backstroke style allows you to do. Obviously, you still have to breathe. It's like when you're running. If you're running and you're not breathing well, you lose stamina, you lose everything. So, but it is easy because you're not moving your head in and out of water, which I always found more difficult. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you manage to learn all of that and then keep practicing and keep practicing and keep practicing, you know how to float, because you already learned your perfect floating position. And then after that, you learn movement on top of the water, first with your legs only, going like that, a straight line on top of the water. And then you added the arms, and what you have there is basically the backstroke style. So if you learn that well, you know one style and you know how to float. So that's it. You already learned it. Then you can start getting used to keeping that going on the water for a very long time, even for half an hour. I don't need to tell you that if you can stay on the pool, I don't care if it is in an area that is only 1 meter deep. I don't care if it's not a deep area. It can be just like 2.5 feet deep water. It can be half the height of your body. It doesn't really matter. But if you can keep doing that without ever touching the walls and without ever stepping on the bottom, and you just either stop and float and then rest, and then let's do a few laps, not in the deep area, but on the area where you know that you're safe. And then you do those laps, and then you go back to float to rest a little, and then you go back to the laps, and you're never touching the walls on the border. You're never stepping on the bottom. You're gonna come to the realization on your own, like I did, that you already know how to swim. Because if you can keep that going, the depth doesn't matter. The depth is not a problem for you, because, guess what? You're not using the walls. You don't need the walls anymore. You're not using the bottom to step on it. You don't need to step on anything anymore, because you're focused on the horizontal position and on moving around. And you can float there and rest. And if you need to move around more to go somewhere else, you can now begin moving around. And then, it's pretty wonderful, because when you realize that, I was capable of doing that for half an hour, I've been doing this for like 20 minutes, you go like, you know what? It doesn't really matter if I was doing this here or anywhere else at any depth. You simply know how to do it. That's when you know that you know how to swim. Are there other things that you can learn? Obviously, I tried to learn the butterfly I just left it. Too frustrating for me. Um, I kind of learned the freestyle. I can do it, but I cannot do it anywhere near as perfectly as the backstroke style. And the same thing for the other one, for the breaststroke. I kind of learn it as well, but it's not as perfect for me as the other one. Like I learned backstroke style at such a good level that I feel I can keep going like that for as long as necessary. Like if I had like an emergency where I need to swim like 1 mile to survive, I wouldn't try freestyle or breaststroke even if I can do it because I didn't really perfect them. I would just stick to what I know perfectly, which is the backstroke, and to floating, which is always there to help you. And that's it, folks. So that is how I learned when I was 27. Um, I hope this helps many of you. If only one or two of you learn how to swim with my advice, I feel it was worth it to do this and share it. As I already told you, this is not my expertise, but I'm sure that it helps when someone who had difficulty shares, the tips, the knowledge, the way I did it. That was how I did it, because it might be the way that many other people who have difficulty learn to do it. I noticed that it's not how they teach you at swimming schools. If you have like someone in your family who's a great swimmer, like my dad used to be a great swimmer, but he's not a great teacher. And you need to be a great teacher. I mean, I don't want to sound pompous or anything like that, or like I'm bragging or anything like that, but I feel like I am a very good teacher, honestly. I am the kind of person that figures out how to teach other people in a way that they understand, in a way they learn. And if they are a person that has a special difficulty, then I don't use that against them. On the contrary, I try to work around that special difficulty to help that unique person that you are, basically, so that you can learn it despite your own handicaps and despite everything. It's not the same way for everyone. We'll have the human body, but we'll have a different body. My body shape, my bones are not the same as everybody else's. So it definitely affects how swimming works. Maybe what worked for me doesn't help for someone else. And what works for that person maybe doesn't work for me. So that's just the way it is. And we have to teach people in a way that works for them, for the unique person that they are, instead of trying to push a universal method for everyone, which is gonna work for many people, even more than for 50% of all the people if it is a very good method. But there are always going to be people that it won't work for, and what's gonna happen? Those are not gonna learn. That's not the answer. The answer is, figuring it out in such a way that you can tailor it to them. So I hope that this way is gonna help you with that. Before we finish, I'm going to recommend you I recommend that you eventually get used to learning all these things and doing all these things without goggles, without water goggles, because in a real life scenario you are not gonna have the water goggles to let me put on the water goggles to be able to swim nicely. You're gonna have to get used to open your eyes underwater and all that, and if you never did it before, it's gonna be difficult. However, despite that, if you're finding difficulty at first, it does help to use a water goggle so that at first only you can forget about that completely. Forget about, if you have difficulty with that. I think I didn't have that much difficulty with that, but there are people that that have difficulty with that. So these are one of them. I use this, pretty sure I use this a lot. During my learning time, years ago when I was 27. Okay, so this is one of them. The brand is Aquasphere. Aquasphere looks like this. Let me just put it on so that people can see how I looked when I was learning. Imagine this guy jumping in and out of the pool non-stop. I probably look crazy. Like after I learned how to float and I was getting used to it, I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it, like get out and jump in and get out and jump in like a little kid. Yeah, that people probably thought that this guy had problems. But I learned how to swim, which is what matters, so I don't mind. I learned the survival skill. So this helped me. However, here's the deal. This one doesn't work wonderfully. This one was the one that helped me the most, the one I used more. And then I took it away and got used to learning everything and doing everything like this without any Google, which is the way you have to do it in the survival scenario. However, there's a problem with this one. It is transparent here, so if the sun is too strong, like it is down here in Florida, US, which is where I live, you want one that has protection against the sun. And I think the best one for that is this one. Something like this. You can see that this is not transparent, so it's kind of like dark here, like let's see. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it on just to show it. I really like the other one, but when the sun is really powerful, you want something like this to help you down there in the pool. Also, there's something great about this one. It sticks to your eyes. This might be a problem for some people, but it's actually a good thing because you can be sure that there's no water coming in here through the borders, and it works really well. The other one, although I like it very much, and I do think I enjoyed it using it more. Sometimes water, a little bit of water would go through all of these borders, so it wasn't perfect. It was good for for my learning purposes, but if you want something serious, like for real serious swimming or something that that's not gonna give you any water coming in and the sun is not going to destroy your site, you're gonna have to get something like this. These are the best ones in my opinion. So the brand for this one is Phel Arena, so PHELRENA. I'm not promoting this brand or anything, folks. Like I'm just giving a recommendation here for the water goggles that I found best. That I found best when I was learning, and I think that can be useful for the people that want to learn and they don't even know what Google might be useful. So this one, very nice, very nice. It looks extremely clear. Like when you see the water through these lenses, it is as if you didn't have anything on your eyes, so it looked wonderful. But because it is completely transparent here, when the sun is too powerful, it's a problem. And because of the shape here, maybe, or the what, I don't know what they used to do it. Sometimes, few times, I noticed that a little bit of water will get in here through the borders, so I have to go like and take the water out, and obviously that can be a problem if you are in a very serious swimming situation, like in the middle of the ocean, something like that. And in that case, well, this is the one that never fails. The other one was more comfortable to learn, maybe, but this one is the one that it's not gonna fail even if the sun is killing you, or even if there are waves, like hard waves coming on your face. There's not gonna be any water coming in. I'm not even using this and it doesn't fall off. It's unbelievable. You see, and I'm not even using the straps. So yeah, these are really good. What else can I recommend you for Swimming 101 by author Pedro Cristobal? I think that's it. I'm obviously not an expert on the matter, but because I learned as someone that had great difficulty learning, and I essentially had to go there and stand up and say, I'm gonna teach myself no matter what. That was how I began learning. I found a lot of frustration, but I eventually managed to do it. When I had spent that day, when I was like half an hour floating around there on that pool and doing this many laps of backstroke to that side and this many laps of backstroke to the other side, maybe trying to try something else to see if I got it right. And I realized that I had not touched any wall on the pool. And I had not stepped on the bottom of the pool at all. And I actually was, most of the time I was horizontally. Uh, Horizontal, either moving around horizontal on the surface or floating like that. I was almost half an hour. That was when I went like, oh, this is it. I already learned it. And it felt great. And yeah, that was how I did it. So yeah, I'm gonna share my email for the private math tutorings. I cover basically math 6 to 12, high school level math or middle school level math. Basically I cover everything from pre-algebra to pre-calculus, which is also called trigonometry. In the university they call this last high school math classes, which they have them there but with a different name. They call them college algebra and trigonometry. They also have a geometry class like the one in high school, which is basically the lowest level geometry class at the university. I can teach that one as well. I already mentioned this in another video, but I used to be a high school math teacher. I enjoy being a teacher. I know I am a great teacher. That's what I came back here and decided that I'm gonna do these teaching videos to teach people. But I didn't have any other choice than to leave the schools, and now I want to do this online. I want to continue helping students and helping people with what I know, but I'm gonna do it online here in my YouTube channel. And I'm beginning that pretty much right now. Like the first two videos I did are these women videos, just to get it out of the way, because I know this is not my true expertise. I'm just doing this to do a nice thing that's gonna help a lot of people, like it helped me. But now I'm gonna move to the real professional arena where I know I'm very good, which is teaching the academic stuff, math, a lot of different math subjects. I can teach geometry, I can teach algebra, pre-algebra, algebra 1, algebra 2, even pre-calculus, which is trigonometry. It's basically high school math. Yeah, that's my specialty. I went in the university when I was a student. I went up to calculus 2, got an A in all the math classes. But I have helped, when I was a teacher, I helped many more people with the algebra and with the geometry. So I feel that that's where I should be, because I'm gonna do, more good for more people in those subjects that I already work with a lot. So I have plenty of experience with them already. And yeah, so far the only thing that people know about me is the stuff about the science fiction author of action thrillers, the real reality series and all that, which you can find it here. Like if you go to the main page of the YouTube channel and you read the link at the top, it's for the series, it's for the science fiction stuff. But I think it's time for people to know the other stuff about me, which is that I am a great math teacher, and I want to bring that back from the dead with a vengeance. And I'm gonna do it in a great way. I'm sure that people are gonna enjoy it and they're gonna learn what they need to learn. So I'm gonna make videos here about that. So videos, free videos that anyone's gonna be able to benefit from and learn from. And I'm gonna offer private tutorings, 1 hour, or if you want to hire me 2 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, or if you want to do it like a class, like 3 times per week, you know, in this specific 3 hour slots. And we're gonna see. Maybe I can turn it into my new job. We're gonna see how it goes. So for the swimming, just keep training, never give up. I got so frustrated. I think it took me like 2 months to learn, and I had frustrating moments. But then I saw the little kids swimming, and I was like, oh no, I am learning this no matter what, because if a baby can do it, so can I. I have done things that are so much more difficult, so I need to learn how to do this. So I just kept going, and I eventually, came up with my own methodology to teach myself, and it worked. It worked. So from now on, when you see this, what are you gonna remember? From from author Pedro Cristobal, my tutor Pedro Cristobal, who also gave you 2 tutorials here for swimming 101. What are you gonna remember when you see this? The horizontal position. This is the position to be in water. What happens when you go like this? RIP. Rest in peace. And this is the truth. This is not a joke that I'm making to close the video. This is the truth. Drowning position for human beings is like this. Standing up. Swimming position, the good position for floating, for the swimming styles, to be safe from water, is horizontal. So get into your head that when you go to a pool, bam, I'm going to the surface of the water horizontally, and I'm gonna stay on that pool horizontally the whole day. And when you can do that, either floating or moving around, well, you were on top of the water. You didn't touch the borders, you didn't stand on the floor, so you know how to swim. That was what happened to me. Like when I came to that realization, like I've been doing this for like half an hour. I already know how to move pretty well. I already know how to float pretty well. I haven't touched any wall or anything. It's just me with the water here. That was when I knew that I already knew how to do it. And it can happen for you too. So yeah, now you know my methodology. The methodology to teach yourself how to swim by yourself without mediocre teachers that don't have any patience and that don't know how to teach you. I experienced that several times. It is very difficult to find a very good swimming teacher or professor that has patience with someone who doesn't learn easily. Because when you have someone who learns easily and you just throw them there and they begin swimming and they go up, or that's like playing a game on easy mode. Everyone can do that. Everyone can teach like that. But the real way to do it is with someone who goes there and they are even afraid to get into the water. I wasn't afraid of the water. I'm not afraid of water or anything like that. But I had genuine difficulty learning. Like learning to float, it was a challenge for me. Until I got it. After I learned it, it wasn't a challenge anymore. But until I got it, it was frustrating. It was difficult. And then the backstroke style, there were times when I was like, oh man, I just don't know how to do it fast. But I kept on training until I found a way. Oh, this way, doing it like this with my legs and with my arms like this, like an arrow, and trying to make sure that I keep my spine like the arrow, straight shape, but still, don't forget to breathe. And still try to feel like as if you were in that floating position where you're kind of like resting even though you're now moving and all that. And eventually it worked, and I learned how to do it. Obviously, if you put me with a swimmer, with a professional, they will do it better than me and faster. But I don't care. I already know how to do it. I know the basics. So, that's what I want to share with other people. so that they can learn how like I did it. I'm gonna do the same with the math. You're gonna realize that with me you learn easier than with textbooks, because I am like that for everything. I like to find ways to explain things clearly, even for people who have difficulty with the subject, with the material. Like I have it in me to be like that. It's just who I am. I'm good at teaching stuff and also at learning stuff. Um, Even if it is difficult stuff, if I really want to learn it, I eventually get there. So, have a nice day. I hope you learned something today. I'm gonna leave it here. This is it for swimming with me. Hopefully, many people learn something out of this. All right. So now maybe I might do another video, or it's a little late today. Tomorrow I will do another one. Something interesting, like how to think outside the box. I didn't do that video yet. I'm gonna do it next. How to think outside the box, and after that I'm gonna do math videos. The first math videos for the channel.